All right, good evening, everyone. I have 6:33. I will call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Ask that everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next step is approval of the agenda. Kate, do you have anything to add to the agenda?
No.
Do we have Sean back with audio? I see he's. Hey, Mike Epwright, could you mute your microphone? We're getting a lot of background noise and it looks like it's coming from your location.
I'll try.
Okay.
I see Sean's name, but he's, oh,
Yeah,
never
he
mind,
just
he
left.
left again.
All right, hopefully he doesn't have anything to add. Kate, could you make a motion to approve the agenda as written?
Yep, this is Kate. I'll make a motion to approve the March 8th, 2021 meeting agenda.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, Ken, let's move. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. Start with the February 4th meeting. February 4th was a special meeting for focusing on start of the budget process. Kate, anything in the minutes that you saw needed correction?
This is Kate. No, I reviewed all the meeting minutes. I didn't have any changes to any of the drafts.
All right, on the February 4th, I had one on discussion of the 2021 budget, Joanne. First line, and Kate, please speak up if you disagree here. Any of those budgets you've got down below were approved. We did table some, but those weren't listed, so I would just delete tabled and just have it read, the board discussed and approved the following departments. Hey, Sean.
Hi there. Sorry, some technical difficulties. We're on to the backup. So
Once again, the string and tin can. And by the way, everybody, if I black out my camera here, it's because my internet is fading, which happens during some of these meetings. Anyway, can I have a motion to approve the Board of Selectmen's meeting minutes for February 4th? Kate?
This is Kate. I'll make a motion to approve the February 4th, 2021 special meeting minutes as Bob amended.
All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I don't know what the amendment was.
All right, we just for information, Sean, in the discussion of the 2021 budget, it talks about we discussed, tabled, and approved the following. Well, none of the ones that are following that were tabled. They were all approved, so we just deleted the word tabled.
Okay. All right. Then put me down
I mean, there
for
were others we tabled, but not these. All right, next one to deal with is the February 8th regular Board of Selectmen minutes. I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
This is Sean. I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes as submitted.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Any discussion, any corrections or amendments to the February 8th minutes? I had none. Kate already said she had none. Sean?
I have none. Up, went through them. Nothing.
All right, all in favor then of approving the February 8th Board of Selectmen minutes as submitted, signify by saying aye. Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right, motion carries unanimously. Next one we have to do, my goodness, we've been busy. Next one we have to do is the special meeting on February 9th. Again, budget meeting. I have a motion to approve the minutes as written.
This is Kate. I'll make a motion to approve the February 29th, 2021 special meeting minutes.
All right, motion is on the floor. Discussion. Sean, anything you saw to agenda to amend?
No, they look good.
All right, again, Kate has already said the same. Call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right, motion carries unanimously. And now the special meeting also on the budget, February 11th. I have a motion to approve as submitted.
This is Sean. I'll make a motion. We approve as submitted those minutes.
Thank you, Sean. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the budget, the minutes for the February 11th special Board of Selectmen meeting, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone. All right, at this point, we're open for public comment. Again, standard rules apply. We got comment at the beginning, at the end, 3 minutes for anyone who wants to speak. Please keep your, just 3-minute limit for discussion. So with that, public comment. All right, the only one I see indicating is Chip. Chip, please identify yourself for the recording.
Yes, Frank Frey, 27 Crabapple Corners in Haddam.
Thank you. Go ahead,
Good evening. I wanted to first, Bob, apologize to you for the tone of my voice. I left you a message last week. Sorry I didn't hear back. Sean, thank you for taking my call. This may take a little bit of time. I hope it's only 3 minutes. I'm greatly concerned with the course of events the past few months. The Saybrook Road application by Rob Lloyd and then the Walkley Hill subdivision. Our town planner was, quote unquote, making a proposal and wanted to waive the open space requirements that have been in effect for years for subdivision. Fortunately, that didn't happen. As he told you, Bob, he said the applicant was going to put the land in conservation. That word was never used for an hour during that meeting, and would have never gone that long if there was conservation. I can only think that that might be a mistruth. The Lloyd application is another manipulative problem. We have laws, and laws are laws. COVID's no excuse. Planning and zoning bylaws state the following. Although they're not laws, they're for us to follow in the planning and zoning. Article 1, Section 4 says, alternates may not speak after their closed meeting. Bob, didn't your lawyer tell you that that wasn't a problem with voting, speaking? We talked about that. I think Kate was present too. I talked to her about a planning and zoning meeting. So I don't know what's supposed to be what, but planning and zoning bylaws, Article 8, Section 1, that the town planner shall advise, not propose. Article 6, Section 3, during a meeting, they shall read the public hearing as it was posted. Article 10, Section 1, meet with the planner to follow up and encourage the applicants to appear informally to discuss with planning and zoning. I'll put this in. It says maybe they could meet with economic development to see if there's any properties available rather than change regulations. Section 3, town planners to review and see that all of this previous was completed and then post twice that there's a public hearing. COVID problems, you can take a break. That doesn't have to get rushed if there's people that are sick in the office. Article 11, Section 4, secretary is to read the legal advertisement. That's the second time it's mentioned. I've never heard it done, and I was on P&Z for 4 years. Section 7, there be no interaction by members. That includes Facebook. And there's pages and pages of stuff that town planner has recently posted on Facebook. And of course, we have another Facebook addict that was also making comments about recent applications and lawsuits. These are, quote unquote, by our town planner, these are factual circumstances. They are one-sided opinions. There were also new comments coming in public To me, I heard two comments, and they could only have got that information that somebody in the know, that the person that sued was a New York resident. So I got comments from planning and zoning members such as carpetbaggers coming in here from New York aren't going to change our town. Another one says to me we were on a job together. This guy's pissing us all off. These New Yorkers. This is not professional, guys. And I will also say that under the job description for the town planner, he is to serve the first selectman and the chairman of the planning and zoning. Also in here, it says the town planner is to implement the POCD in his job description. His description is other essential duties and analyze the effectiveness of any applications. During the charrettes 2 years ago, hundreds of taxpayers spent 2 weekends. This latest episode, I'll call it that, was that planning and zoning and our town planner gave the 200 of us the finger. Said thanks, but no thanks. Facebook comments by the town planner, and I have a copy of it, were arrogant. Said the planning and zoning decision remains valid unless a judge determines otherwise. That's in every decision. The parlor is in compliance with planning and zoning and operating legally, quote unquote. Well, I got to tell you, most of my information are facts, and I got them from more than one Yale graduated law school attorneys specializing in zoning. Quote unquote, from one of my attorneys says, without a public hearing, and there wasn't, there is no decision. Ab initio, Latin for period, from the beginning, invalid. There were other alternatives. Now it's a mess. It's a mess. Now there's no stream meeting. It's going to be an in-person meeting, not according to Governor Lamont. He's got a list of, I've got 5 things, 6 things here that says all of the requirements must be met for municipal boards and commissions. So you must hold remote meetings, and you may have remote meetings provided they meet all the following conditions. So it looks like we're going to have a remote as well. I want to know is, what do you call a man that catches a fish? Fisherman. What do you call a man that doesn't tell the truth? I'll leave that to you. Bob, I saw your response to this, and I just want to say it's not about a tattoo parlor. It's not about an ice cream parlor. I wish everybody'd stop making about that. It's about principles, truths, and the law. It's about protecting our town and its citizens. Not one guy from Middletown who works 3 days a week, and half the time he's in the office, he's doing online, what's it called? Stock market. And a tattoo operator who, I don't care what people do with their bodies and all, but there's the only 2 people that are going to profit from this. And I mean, we're going to profit. The guy's never paid $300 in taxes in his business down in Tylerville, so it's not going to add to our coffers much. It seems the town planner is representing the applicants in these 2 situations and not us. So I'm greatly concerned with the direction our land use office is taking. And my only question is, and it scares me, is what's next? That's all I got to say. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Chip. Other comments? All right, seeing none, I'm moving on. Selectmen's update. Number of things to talk about today, and as always, other members of the board, please chip in as appropriate or add at the end. Projects updates, Rossi property, phase 2 environmental assessment is actually underway this week, started last week. They were doing some more drillings and testings this week. Bridge Road Sidewalk project is proceeding. Designs are nearly complete. We will be discussing about easements for that project later in this meeting. Construction is expected to begin late summer, early fall. some new building projects or updated information on earlier building projects in town. These are applications for private development, not town-funded work. We have 2 proposals for multi-unit development in Tylerville. One is for most of the property on Brooks Court, which is that small street just north of Bridge Road. Couple of phases on that development, potentially an 80-unit apartments in there, multiple buildings, 1 and 2 bedroom. Met with the proposed developer probably about 2 weeks ago now. Wanted to outline his project. It looks promising. The other one is, again, the property at 105 Bridge Road, the old ecotourism site. We've got another developer. This will make at least the 3rd that we've talked to. We're proposing multi-unit housing there. We'll see how that proceeds. We've just had preliminary discussions. The other development in the Tylerville area that's significant to bring up, it's been talked about for a while that there was a developer interested in turning what was the old Marin Engineering building on 7 Island Dock Road into an upscale women's rehab or wellness center. We've received now an application for the building permits. That process has started for that building to be converted and used for that purpose. So I took those all as good news. We'll see what develops. As always, these projects may come through or they may fall through for any number of reasons. Other items I want to update everyone on tonight. Financial news, probably the biggest financial news and the biggest we've had in a while is we have now hired a finance director. Ann Harder, who was formerly the finance director in Newington, accepted last week an offer of employment. She's got a long history of municipal finance experience. She was, as I said, finance director at Newington for 10 years. She was the deputy finance director for Newington, the 17 before that, and she has other municipal experience. So I'm excited to have her on the team. She'll start on the 5th, which is a Monday of April. Other finance information, we have budgets. Budget process is moving forward. Board of Finance has the general proposed budget. Board of Selectmen has a couple of budget items to tweak and approve tonight. We are still awaiting numbers for the health insurance costs, pension costs. Hope to have those soon. But the information is coming in. Capital budgets have been submitted and are being reviewed. And with that, I'll move on. Next item is public health update. Scott, I see you're on the phone from the health district. If you have an update for us.
How you doing, Bob?
Good, Scott.
All right, just got out of a clinic. So, yeah, first update, a lot of positive news happening with CRAD. We are up to 9,000 vaccinations as of tonight. So we're really moving along nicely. We had our first Johnson & Johnson one and done clinic with 200 people statewide tonight. Went really well. That clinic I put up in a VAM system. Those slots filled in about 30 seconds. So there's a lot of people out there at the 55 plus that are anxious to get their shots. A lot of options opening up throughout the state. We're glad to be one of them. Our plan is to finish up teachers. We vaccinated approximately 1,200 educators and daycare workers thus far. We have about 600 more educators and daycare workers scheduled this week. After that, we'll be done. And then depending on allocations, we're going to pivot back to the 55 plus individuals statewide. So we'll give you guys a heads up. Haddam's had good coverage rates, like most of the towns in our area. Due to us, due to Nutmeg Pharmacy, due to a lot of other efforts throughout Haddam, it's been great. So people are getting appointments. Our coverage rates are about 22% in Haddam, which is fantastic. Saybrook and Essex currently are the highest in the state at 30%. Unfortunately, a lot of our cities are still lagging behind at about 8 to 10, but I do see a lot of good options opening up for people, and I'm very glad the governor decided to do an age-based system. So going forward, it should be pretty simple. If you hear of any 75, 65 plus that have either A, gotten forgotten about, or B, have changed their mind, certainly send them our way. We think we've captured most of our 75, 65 plus people throughout the 8 towns. So things are going great. Case-wide, the state's heading down the right way. We were up a little bit last week, a lot of family transmission still. However, our cases have been dropping this week. I hope that trend continues. So a lot of positives out there with COVID. Still keeping an eye on the variants, but so far so good. So that's about it, Bob.
Okay, Scott, thank you very much for that. I'll add some town-specific information. Our case counts are decreasing, as Scott was saying, the state and the health district are seeing, which is good. January, we had a total of 67 new cases in Haddam. February, 24, and March so far to date, we've only had 4. Total 279 cases in the town since they first started being reported about a year ago. Vaccinations, individuals 55 and over are eligible. Teachers, school staff, as Scott has talked about, are being done. Social services has helped a number of people with scheduling. They've helped 51 so far. So if anyone is having difficulties, please get in touch with Jessica. Nutmeg Pharmacy is doing a very good job with their vaccination effort. Last Saturday, they held a closed clinic for the Region School District Region 17 staff. And between them and a number of the staff who also went to a CRAD clinic, pretty much at this point, everyone who wanted their first dose from the school district has gotten it. Their second doses will be early on in next April. Other places are opening up vaccinations. In addition to CRAD, in addition to Nutmeg, Walgreens, CVS, Walmart are all offering vaccinations. They schedule through their own system. You can go online with them and see about scheduling. I think the Walgreens in East Hampton is offering that, and that's probably the nearest Walgreens for us that's offering it. Also, the VA is offering clinics to pretty much any eligible veteran. Eligible means for VA care, not they're opening for all ages. So that's another avenue if you're eligible for that. That's all I've had from the public health side. The last thing I have to bring up is just to let people know that we are about to start negotiating both of our union contracts, the clerical workers for the town hall, the clerical contract, and the Teamsters work contract, which covers public works. Last year, all expired. We extended them for a year because of the pandemic. There's so much uncertainty. So now we're coming up at the end of that year. Actually, the end of June is when the contracts expire. So we'll begin negotiation. Clerical contracts starting March 25th, and the Teamsters we start on the 30th. Hopefully that goes quickly. That's all I have for updates. Anything, Sean or Kate?
This is Sean. I know we're going to talk about this coming up a little later, the Scoville Hole application. I did want to know if you noted it's a little more damage to the back of the building. And I think if we are going to move on this, I think something has to get, we have to move a little quick on it, because if you take a look at the roof line along Candlewood Hill section, more bricks have come down. There's more rot on some of the eaves and whatnot. So it's let's hope we can do something relatively quick, or we're going to start seeing a lot more deterioration. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Kate, anything?
Just EDC hasn't met yet. Our monthly meeting is this week, but we are starting to brainstorm some, I guess, community events for 2021 and beyond. We would we're just kind of looking for ways to help bring the community together. And we'll be working with some other committees to make that happen. So if anyone has any ideas, nothing's too crazy at this point. So any ideas that people would like to see, feel free to throw them out and we'll work our magic.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Moving on, Jen, you're up for the Board of Education update.
Thank you, Bob. For those that don't know me, I'm Jen Favalora from the Board of Education. I'm reporting on our February meetings. As I reported to you last month, with the field house renovations complete, the only obstacle in a full reopening was the high number of COVID cases in our towns. And since the metrics have been going down, Superintendent Hagman has announced the plan to bring back high school to full in-person learning. The administration's planned a staggered return for all the students, starting with the seniors on March 15th. The freshmen will then join in on March 22nd, followed by the juniors and sophomores on March 29th. All RSD 17 students still have the option to learn remotely throughout the end of the year. The high school administration is also working on modified senior spring traditions, such as the prom and the senior outing, in order to give these students a memorable end to their senior year. Dr. Hagman also announced that after several months of work with community members, teachers and staff, board members, and the administration, and Bob McGarry, RSD 17 has finalized the vision of the graduate. This vision clarifies 6 skills and dispositions that our community and our schools desire as essential traits in all of our graduates. Our vision focuses on developing our learners to be critical thinkers and collaborators who are caring and compassionate with the skills and mindsets to solve real-world challenges. Students grow and contribute through academic exploration and feedback, perseverance and resilience, and open-mindedness to others' perspectives. The skills and dispositions in our vision will guide our ongoing efforts to prepare our students to provide leadership, creativity, and ingenuity in an increasingly connected global world. You can read the details of our vision of the graduate, including all of the 6 skills and dispositions we identified, on our RSD 17 website under District Vision of the Graduate, and then clicking on the article to read it in its entirety. The curriculum committee came to us last month with a proposal for social emotional learning curriculums for both the middle school and the high school for the upcoming school year. I know I've reported many times about how important social emotional learning is for our students this year. And that isn't just this year. The middle school would like to use the evidence-based curriculum second step, which is also already used in our elementary schools. They'd use it during an advisory period, which will be added every other week to their flex period. This curriculum reinforces important skills such as managing stress, coping with challenges, resolving conflicts, building and maintaining healthy relationships, and responsible decision-making. The high school will also provide SEL lessons once a week during their advisory period through a multimedia program called School Connect, which focuses on competencies identified by researchers as critical to success in schools, the workplace, and life in general. And the facilities committee reported to us their concerns. I mentioned to you last month on the condition of the White House and barn located on the high school property. These buildings, which were purchased when the district formed 50 years ago, have had little restoration over the years. And the superintendent has had a conversation with both of the agencies, as you are aware, with HK Rec and HK Youth and Family Services, the concern for their building, for them to need to find a safer space. They have both been using this building rent-free for several years now, and we just want to start the conversation to have them look for a safer space while the district works on identifying all the repairs that would be needed. I have a correction. I made a mistake last month. The Board of Education signed a contract with the HKEA Teachers Union. I said that it was for 2.5 steps movements for the teachers. It was only 2 steps movements for the teachers. And then finally, I want to share with everybody that the Board of Education budget has started. It's very important work. We would love community participation. We do have a community input session. You can read the budget on our website under District Board of Education, proposed budgets. I'm sorry, it's District Board of Education and then budget information. And that is it, Bob, but I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
All right. Kate, Sean, anything for Jen?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
No question, but I'll just make a quick comment. So last week, we had our joint meeting with the Board of Ed, the Board of Finance, and the Board of Selectmen, the boards between Haddam and Killingworth. And I did mention at the end of the meeting that I wanted to encourage the Board of Ed to maybe try some new and different ways to reach out to people. Historically, the budget meetings have extremely low attendance. And as we know, Haddam typically votes the budget down, and Killingworth is usually the one who carries it through. So I really wanted to encourage the board to reach out and educate people and to have people understand the breakdown of numbers that go into the budget, because the knee-jerk reaction will ultimately be people will see what's likely going to be a higher budget and automatically want to vote it down. So I encourage the Board of Ed to try to reach out to people in maybe some different ways rather than just relying on the community to attend these meetings to understand what the budget is about. I know it's easier said than done, but that was my 2 cents.
Kate, I really appreciated your feedback. We definitely discussed it in our meeting afterwards. And I want to say to anybody here that if they ever have any questions about any time, but about the budget, I am more than willing to talk. You can email me at j.favalora@rsd17.org. You can call me. My phone number is on the rsd17.org website. I'm available anytime to meet and talk and listen and learn. And we will try to do our best, Kate, because those were great suggestions.
All right, I just have 2 comments to make, Jen, on your report. One, I don't think I've ever heard that you made a mistake before, so that was momentous. Secondly, for everyone, I took a very quick look at the superintendent's budget. I think page 23, which looks at what the allocation is between the towns, is the one I turned to. We're paying a slightly lower percentage based on the enrollment. Last October, our percentage went down 0.83, which is good news. The presented budget, which I know we all should note is subject to a lot of change between now and final, currently would result in about a $400,000 increase in costs for Haddam. All right, moving on. I jumped the gun. I apologize. I incorporated the CRAD update into my update, so thanks for that, Scott. We'll move on. Next item I've got here are tax refunds. Kate, Sean, you should have gotten the list of tax refunds in your meeting information. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 10 total under real estate for a total of $4,268. 2 under personal property, $169 and change. 3 under motor vehicles for $259.79 for a total of $4,697.67. I get a motion to approve the tax refunds as requested.
This is Sean, I'll make a motion we approve, but I would like some discussion.
Yeah, all right, motion is on the floor. It's open for discussion. Sean?
How do we make a $3,000 mistake on on one? Yeah, that's the largest refund I've seen in a while. 3578 for Movement Mortgage.
You know, I had to admit it, I don't have a good answer for that one. Some of the other anomalies on here I can explain. I didn't catch that one and talk to Kristen about it.
Yeah, the other ones I can see. We collected fees we weren't supposed to collect. That's fine. I can see that, and just valuation stuff. The clerical error. What was the clerical error that we made that we have to refund now?
Yeah, well, the clerical error is why it goes back more than 2 years, because you can't go by statute back more than 2 years unless there's a clerical error. What happened is an oil tank was removed from that property, and that wasn't reflected in the next two assessments. So that was the clerical, it should have been, but that was the clerical error that was made.
All right, I think, we'll probably approve this, but if we just get information on how that movement mortgage, they overpaid by, $3,500, that would be good.
All right, Joanne, can you try to text Kristen, see if she can answer that? If we can get it in the meeting, we'll leave it. All right, so do you want to amend the motion to approve all but those pending more information, or how would you like to proceed, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be approved at some point, I would imagine. There's probably a good explanation of it, but I just would like to hear it. So for now, if she gets back to us for by the end of this meeting, that's fine. If we can push it off, that refund for another month, I would like to, I'd just like to get an answer on that one. That's all. So I'm going to amend my motion that we approve all but the $3,578.60 refund.
All right, any discussion on the amended motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, carries unanimously. If we get the information, we'll bring this back up during this meeting. All right, next order of business is an appointment. Appointing Mark Lundgren to fill the vacant alternate seat on the Board of Finance. This may seem like deja vu to those of you who were at our last Board of Selectmen meeting, because it is. We jumped the gun a little bit. The person who held that alternate position was appointed last month to a full seat. She had to accept that and resign her alternate before we could appoint Mark, so we had jumped the gun last month by appointing him, so it wasn't a valid appointment. So it is now back up for discussion. And I have a motion to appoint Mark Lundgren to the alternate seat on the Democrat seat on the, Republican seat on the Board of Finance.
Kate, you want to make that one again since it was yours?
Yes, Mark, you've got my vote again. I make a motion to appoint Mark Lundgren as a Board of Finance alternate.
All right, thank you for making the correct motion this time, Kate. Any discussion?
Welcome back aboard again.
Same comments as last time, they still apply.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Once again, Mark, for real this time, let's hope. Congratulations on your appointment.
And thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. All right, we've got a few items under new business to discuss. The first one is the discontinuance of part of Pine Brook Road. Mike, I'm going to ask you to talk about that. I'll just open it by noting that Pine Brook Road is one of the roads in Haddam Neck. And this discontinuance goes back to, if I remember the minutes correctly, the 1931 or so Board of Selectmen minutes. So Mike, microphone is yours.
Thank you, Bob. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Mike Epbright. I'm a real estate attorney, and I practice over on the Bridge Road over in the Tylerville section of town. I was approached almost a year ago, probably more than a year ago now, from somebody in Middle Haddam, Deirdre Devaney. She had bought several parcels of property through the years and was looking to merge them. So what I did was I told her I would take a look at that project and I would need a closed survey and probably could help her out with that. And as things started to unravel in this effort, we found out that there was a potential for an issue with regards to the public highway. This goes back, as Bob alluded, to 1930s. It was before Route 151 was ever installed. The way that you used to get from Middle Haddam to East Hampton, you'd have to take the old road that kind of went through, and it was and it butted my client's properties, and it just continued on. Then they built 151. So the town of East Hampton and the town of Haddam decided to discontinue all of the roads that were no longer essential for that to travel that distance. And what ended up happening was really a little bit of confusion the way it was worded, because when I looked in the minutes, the Selectmen's minutes, which are in volume 53, page 145 in the Haddam land records in the minutes, if you want to look at them, they went to all kinds of landmarks that were in existence back in 1935, which the surveyor in his efforts to do a survey could no longer locate. They didn't exist anymore. So we weren't sure what happened and what was discontinued, and that was an essential part of merging the properties, because to merge the properties, we would have to make a legal determination that the public right-of-way for the old roadway was discontinued and therefore it didn't exist anymore. So I did a lot of research on this, and the reason I wanted to talk tonight, I don't know, I sent a few exhibits in. Bob, does the board have access to those documents?
Yes, Mike, the board was given copies of those.
Okay, so if you look in the, probably to orientate, the first thing to start would be to look at the survey as we started doing it with Deirdre Devaney. This shows a picture of her property and the road that goes through it. This is a survey that was done by Richard Mihawk, and it was in 2019, July of 2019. Excuse me a second. Unfortunately, I'm not the young lawyer I was when I came to Haddam, so I have to wear these now to see. So if you look at the road, everything on the south side of the road, she owns. Everything on the north side of the road, she now owns. The north side of the road was once upon a time a 4-lot subdivision. She's acquired those parcels. They were never developed, but they do have access to 151. And they also abut the town road that used to be called Old Haddam Leesville Road, okay? That road exists nowadays as a really rough gravel road. It's really not even passable by a car. It's no longer maintained by the town. Nobody's gone down that for years. Nobody uses it. In fact, it's a private driveway from her house now to Pine Brook Road, which is a public road, approved public road and a used public road. But that's how it exists nowadays. So the only person that traverses this highway is Deirdre and her husband, David, to get to their property. So she's looking to merge the parcels. And so where the issue came in is, if you look at the second document that I gave you guys to try to understand this, it's an aerial photo in 1934. And if you look at that document, you can, I've hand wrote a few things on it to help you guys understand, because it's a little bit hard to see because it's blacked out a little bit just because of the nature of the black and white photo. But I highlighted in yellow, I don't know if it came through on your copy, but you could see a little arrow like halfway down the page on the left-hand side. That's the old road that people used to travel to get to East Hampton before 151. If you can follow that line down, it goes all the way over up to where 151 is now. It comes down through the woods. You can see it. You can see it through the aerial photo. If you disregard 151, you could see the old highway until it comes down to that circle there, which is where the bridge over Pine Brook used to exist. If you look at so in 1935, the Board of Selectmen went to discontinue these roads. And the language they used is as follows, and I'm quoting from volume 53, page 145, which is in the minutes in the land records. It says that the town of Haddam, paraphrasing, town of Haddam is discontinuing the road from Bailey's Corner, which is way up towards East Hampton. If you look on that aerial photo, you'll see like way to the left where I wrote in to Bailey's Corner. That's much farther up past the fairgrounds. It's way up like towards where NY used to be, up in Connecticut Yankee, up in that area. That's where Bailey's Corner used to be. And then it says discontinue from Bailey's Corner down to and including the bridge over Pine Brook. So I don't have a problem with what I'm trying to do in terms of the discontinuance of the road till you get to the bridge over Pine Brook, which is on the little aerial photo. You can see I put a circle in there. That's where the river, if you had a better picture, a better copy of the aerial photo, you could see there's a brook that runs through there. That's Pine Brook. And that was the bridge that traversed it. Then continuing with the Selectmen's minutes, it says including the bridge over Pine Brook, and then it says to the road to William Chapman's and from the foot of Chapman's Hill over into and over to and including the Haddam's part of Leesville Bridge. So here's the rub, and I'm trying to explain this the best I can, but the discontinuance says including the bridge over Pine Brook, and then it says to the road to William Chapman's. Well, the road to William Chapman's used to run from Pine Brook, and it used to run all the way down and then run up right by my client's property, which the Chapman's property is my client's property, okay? It's the southern side of the old discontinued road. But what happens is when they tried to discontinue it, they said to the road to William Chapman's. That when they built 151, they added that additional section, which is now Pine Brook Road, and it cuts down to the road to William Chapman's. And then that road continued over to William Chapman's house back in the 1930s. The problem was that an argument can be made that they intentionally did not mean to discontinue from the easterly side of Pine Brook Road as it exists today to what's called the foot of Chapman's Hill, because William Chapman might have wanted a public right-of-way all the way down to his house. So therefore, they did not discontinue it. That's how the argument would go. So the surveyor was concerned about that. And he's saying, well, wait a minute, I can't show this. If it's a public highway, I can't show it as property owned by Deirdre Devaney because there's a public right-of-way. So I did a little bit of sniffing around. I went over to, I talked to Jeff Sanborn over at the town engineer. Bob, what's the name of our town engineer?
Jacobson Associates. Nice.
Jacobson Associates, and I spoke with Jeff Sanborn. Now, Jeff Sanborn does a lot of the surveying in these areas and for the town. They were also involved actually in a very large lawsuit a couple of years ago up a little farther towards Bailey's Corner with a very identical situation like this, whether or not a road was discontinued. And the issue became, what did the town discontinue in 1935? And what did they did not discontinue? And so the question was, where's the foot of Chapman's Hill? So another document I was able to find in the land records, which you do not have, is a survey that Rich Zebrin did. I forget, it was like maybe in the 70s or the 80s. I don't have the exact survey in front of me, but he located the foot of Chapman's Hill out in the field. And that ended up being, if you look on the survey that Mihawk did, and you follow the road down, there are two gate posts. It's like maybe 2/3 of the way from the left-hand side of that survey, 2/3 of the way through it, there's two gate posts. And it's right near a boundary line, near the easterly boundary line of my client's property, okay, on the southerly side of the road. You can see two gate posts if you look at the survey. That's the foot of Chapman's Hill, according to Rich Zebrin. At that point, the topographies go up steeply over a hill. So if you read the minutes from 1935 and you extrapolate that information, it would appear that an argument could be made that they did not discontinue the road from the easterly side of Pine Brook Road to the foot of Chapman's Hill, as Richard Zebrin located it on his survey map. Now, I had this conversation with Jeff Sanborn, and what Jeff told me was, he said, well, the foot of Chapman's Hill is an arbitrary thing. The topography comes down more steeply until those gate posts that are shown on the Mihawk survey, but then it's still down gradient all the way down to Pine Brook Road. So perhaps the foot of Chapman's Hill is the easterly side of Pine Brook Road. So it created a conundrum, and I didn't know how to handle it from a title perspective. So the best way to accomplish the objectives, along with the current use, which is non-existent in the road, nobody uses it. It's not a right-of-way really that can be traversed and doesn't really go anywhere because the road basically ends. It's not passable with a motor vehicle, much past my client's house, is to just try to get a discontinuance of this subject area, which is from the easterly side of Pine Brook Road to the foot of Chapman's Hill. That part is questionable whether or not it was discontinued in 1935. Jeff Sanborn believed it was. I think it may have been. It would be consistent with the uses that have gone on for the last 100 years, and everything that's going on out in the field. But I'm a conservative guy, and I figured that was probably the better thing to do, would be come in, pursue an official discontinuance for that. I don't know, it's a few hundred feet, maybe a quarter of a mile section of road, just in case. And that way it puts this issue to bed, and then I can go back and get my survey finished and finish my objectives. I don't know if you guys have questions about that. I covered a lot of ground and it's hard to do with a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, the benefits of the online meetings. Thank you, Mike. I will throw in my 2 cents as member of the Haddam Neck Fire Department as to what our practice has been here. Basically, if you go back and take a look at the aerial photograph, the section of Pine Brook that was added at the time of construction of 151, that's a current existing road. You go down that road, I would say roughly a half mile. It turns 90 degrees to the right. And if you go at that curve to the left instead, it's the driveway to Mike's client's house, or what we have always treated as a driveway. I've responded to that house a couple of times over the years. That's it's always been, it's a driveway and then the remains of a dirt road going off through the woods. So there's been, to my knowledge, at least at the time, 25 years or so I've been here, no public access, no public use at that point. I also know my brother-in-law is a surveyor. He talks about some of the difficulties of these old surveys that refer to, you know, starting from a point 50 feet north of the 24-inch oak tree, trying to establish exactly where it is. So from what I have looked into this, I think it's reasonable that the intent was, and certainly the practice has been recently, that all of the area in question was discontinued at that 1939 special town meeting that Mike has referred to. And we're just cleaning this up with the resolution you have, or the submitted with the package that the Board of Selectmen concurs that the entirety of Pine Brook, as shown, has been discontinued.
Well, so it wouldn't be Pine Brook, Bob, because that's a road. It's actually from the easterly side of Pine Brook at that left-hand turn at that intersection. Pine Brook continues as a town road.
Yeah, Pine Brook continues to the right for a while before it again peters out through the woods going in that direction.
I think the old name of it is Old Haddam Neck Leesville Road. And if you look in the assessor's tax map, I mean, you can't really get a lot of information out of that, but it looks like there's a gap on the side that's towards Pine Brook seems to be called Old Haddam Neck Road. And then the side that's over towards Salmon River would be called Leesville Road. And there's a gap in between. But I think that at least certainly before 151 was put in, that was one continuous road because that's how people would traverse from the town of East Hampton to the town of to Middle Haddam and then to Haddam.
All right, so we're making a request for a ratification of the action Board of Selectmen in 1931 to abandon the road. You have Kate, Sean, in your package was the resolution, which I'll read. Resolved, the town of Haddam ratifies the action taken by the Board of Selectmen at the special town meeting held May 25th, 1931. The minutes of said meeting being on file in Book of Town Records, Volume 53 at page 145 in the office of the Haddam Town Clerk, and hereby abandons and confirms the discontinuation of that portion of the ancient highway lying between the easterly side of Pine Brook, so-called, and the quote, the foot of Chapman's Hill, unquote.
All right. So you just want a motion that we pass that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we pass the resolution regarding Pine Brook Road and the discontinuing of it.
All right, motion has been made to endorse the ratification as I read. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I'll note the motion passes unanimously. As a second piece of this, I'll direct your attention to the Board of Selectmen findings paper that you should have gotten this afternoon. Kate, Sean, did you receive that?
Hold on, I gotta find it.
I sent it like during this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, Joanne.
Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, I have it.
right, normally the acquisition or disposal of any real estate requires a town meeting. Now, in my view, the town meeting occurred in 1931. We were looking at the minutes of the special town meeting. But just to be on the safe side, normally this would go to a town meeting. Executive Order 7JJ of May 6, 2020 allows the Board of Selectmen to make a determination that the abandonment, in this case of this road, is required for the orderly town business and permits orderly town business, and there's a need to act to prevent significant, in this case, financial loss, i.e. we are at a liability exposure as long as that road may be ours. And with those findings, we can dispense with the need for a public meeting and not have to repeat the 1931 public meeting.
That sounds reasonable. I'll read them both now. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to get a motion to reach those two findings as worded.
This is Sean. I will make a motion that we approve these two findings as written.
All right. Discussion? In my mistake, it should be the first of those two. Sean, if you would amend the motion,
I'll make an
we'll do
amendment.
the second one later.
I'll amend my motion. We only approve the Pine Brook finding.
All right. All in favor of the amended motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Notice it carries unanimously. Mike, I think you should be set. If you need anything else, get in touch with me at the
All right.
office.
I will, Bob. Thank you very much, everybody. And I just want one point of clarification. What we're discontinuing is from the east side of Pine Brook Road to Chapman's Hill, not anything to do with Pine Brook Road. That continues.
Correct.
All right, very well. All right, thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
All right, Mike. All right, next item of new business deals with the Bridge Road sidewalks mentioned earlier in the meeting in my selectmen's update. Bill Warner is on the call. Bill, I'll give an overview. Please add more if you think it's necessary. As we've discussed, as has been presented at an information session last year, and also funding has been approved for it previously at a town meeting. The town has a project to build sidewalks on the south side of Bridge Road. As you might imagine, since that's all privately owned property, we need to get permanent easements to build the sidewalk on those roads. And also on the north side, there's one spot near the Dunkin' Donuts. We need an easement for a crosswalk so people can cross from the sidewalk to the Dunkin' Donuts, which we all know they're going to do. There's a letter from the state of Connecticut in the package that highlights which the properties are, and authorization of the Department of Transportation to proceed with the acquisition of the easements. We've gone through all the necessary appraisal steps, agreements from the current owners, and at this point, again, an easement is technically an acquisition of property. So for that reason, I'm asking for Board of Selectmen and approval to obtain the easements, and then we'll go through a finding as we did for Pine Brook Road, so we don't have to do another town meeting in these times to talk about the Bridge Road sidewalk project. Kate, Sean, any discussion, any questions on that?
I'm just trying to pull up the easements now on my
Okay.
computer here.
I'll just point out that I did meet with every property owner out on the properties, gave them a map, gave them their offer letter for the acquisition of the easements based on the appraisals that were done. There's one property owner on the south side of Bridge Street that is still concerned, is looking for a wall and a few other things, and he's contacted the DOT directly. And I think the easements, Bob has talked to the ones at the Dunkin' Donuts, and I think they're on board now. So otherwise, everybody is very much looking forward to the sidewalks. These are just sliver easements, like a foot or two.
Thank you, Bill. I'll note for the record that was Bill Warner, our town planner.
Bob, did you want to have any discussion about that crosswalk and where that's located? Should that be part of this conversation?
Mike, not at this point. You and I talked about a possible secondary location. Easement wouldn't be necessary for that because it's within the state right of way. So I'd just like to move forward with what we have, but thank you for asking.
All right, thank you.
I really have no, this is Kate. I really have nothing to add. I know sometimes this can be a somewhat contentious and long drawn out process. So great job on getting this done in such a timely manner. And thank you to all the property owners who are agreeable to this. This will be a great addition to Tylerville.
Okay, yeah, it's just the 10 properties, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve this easement.
All right, motion has been made to approve the easement for those 10 properties. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
All right,
Aye.
I'll note the motion carries unanimously. At this point, if you will look to the second item on the document titled Board of Selectmen Findings, March 8th, 2021. It's a finding for the Bridge Road easement. The same discussion I had on the Pine Brook Road. Normal process, normal times, this would go from us approving it to the town meeting. But in view of the pandemic, in view of the fact this has been approved for financing, which was a town meeting, in view of the conditions under which we're operating, I'm requesting that the Board of Selectmen find that acquiring these easements is necessary to permit the orderly operation of the municipality, and there is a need to prevent potential significant loss, financial loss. And in that case, this is an 80%, or if I don't have the exact percentage right, significant federal grant. There are timelines on the grant. This will keep the project moving forward so we don't put those grant funds at risk.
This is Kate. I'll make a motion that we approve the Board of Selectmen finding related to the Bridge Road easements.
All right, thank you, Kate. Motion's approved. On the table, rather, to approve the Bridge Road easements. Any discussion? All in favor?
all right,
Aye.
All right, thank you. I'll note it carries unanimously. Next item to discuss is the Scoville Ho grant application. As you know, we've done a phase 1 environmental assessment on Scoville Ho. They found some issues. We're looking for a grant to move forward with phase 2. Bill, I would ask you at this point to bring up a discussion and exactly what we're looking for here.
Well, we currently have a $225,000 grant that we got when I first arrived here. We use that to do the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and the remedial action plan. So all of the studying is done, well, being completed. So now we know what has to be done, and we have a plan to do it. That's what the remedial action plan is. It says, okay, pave over here, dig this up, do this, do that. So we know exactly what needs to be done. So we're negotiating with DEP about that, whether they agree with us, but we need money to do that. It's a state property, it's owned by the state of Connecticut, so we're certainly not looking to the town of Haddam to clean up the state's property. So we're applying to the DECD, the Department of Economic and Community Development, for funding to implement the cleanup. So once the cleanup is done, then we have also been talking to the DOT to acquire the property from the DOT because it would be environmentally remediated and then it would have value. The DOT appraised it for $337,000 is the value that they think they should get for it. It's negotiable, obviously. But the cleanup we're heading towards in the application, I'm preparing the grant application now. It's due April 8th. It's a very lengthy, long grant application with spelling out all of the environmental issues that are there, the building issues and whatnot. So we're heading towards $700,000 to $750,000 for the cleanup. So that is not unusual for a brownfield property, that the cleanup far exceeds the cost of the value of the property. But if we don't do this, then the property is going to sit vacant and deteriorate. The DOT has been very clear they have no intention of doing anything with it except waiting until they have to tear it down. So we're looking for the DOT money to clean it up. The application requires that the legislative body, which is the Board of Selectmen, in this case, or not the legislative body, the Board of Selectmen, make a motion to support the application. So we're just looking for a letter from Bob supporting the application to the DECD for approximately $700,000.
Bill, you came in a little bit after I spoke, but I think, it is already starting to deteriorate. So if we are going to do something, we need to move on this. I don't know if you've noticed recently, there's some bricks, more bricks have come off the Candlewood Hill side of the building, and the eaves and the roof is really starting to look pretty poor in one section there. So I definitely would. I'll make a motion that Bob writes a letter of support to get this moving.
All right, thank you, Sean. Motion is on the table to authorize a letter to move this application forward. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, I will note the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, last item we have under new business is a continuation of discussion of the 2021 budget. You have in your package just a spreadsheet, a couple of pages. There are a couple of amendments to be made to the budgets that we had previously approved. As we conducted a review of the salary information, some of the figures were correct, somehow some of this got askew on the computer. We have the corrected figures that's presented in front of you on page 1 of that document for salaries. And again, as we discussed, those salaries reflect 2% increase over the current, which is an estimate, depending on what happens with the negotiations.
This is Kate. So do you want us to just go through line by line?
Kate, I'd leave it up to everyone here. You've got the document. If you want to do just a blanket approval of the salary adjustments, then we'll build it into the individual lines, or we can do it on a line by line basis.
This is Kate. I'm supportive of a blanket statement because the values are, in the grand scheme of things, mere pennies off. I don't really see any significant changes.
No, I'm good with that.
Okay.
All right.
Motion has been made to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion is approved. I will make a note that there was one decrease. That was the finance director. What we had approved was based on the salary range we advertised. And through skilled negotiation, it came in a little underneath that. Of course, she's got 17 weeks of vacation, but these things happen. Okay, next item to approve. It's a line that I honestly thought we had approved, but looking back at the minutes, it doesn't reflect that. I believe we discussed it, but it was line 150, the contingency fees. The current budget and current fiscal year we're in budget is $100,000. The proposal is $100,000. There is a difference in the split, a little less in salary contingent and a little more in general contingent, but still the total is $100,000. Would entertain a motion to approve line 150 contingency funding for $100,000.
This is Sean. I'll make a motion. We approve the contingency funding at $100,000.
All right, motion has been made. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next line, budget line we didn't approve was the line 205 police. That was because we did not have the information from state police on the expected charges for next fiscal year. We received that Thursday. That's been entered. Was 316,000 and something dollars, rounded up to 317,000, which is the request in the budget request. The other items on there we had previously discussed, but again, not approved line 205 because we didn't have the bulk of the cost. I have a motion to approve budget line 205 police for a total of $380,125.
This is Sean. I'll make a motion. We approve the department total of $380,125.
All right, thank you, Sean. Motion has been made. Any discussion on the motion?
This is Kate. Just a quick question. So this is just reflective of likely salary increases and not, not increased coverage or an increased number of troopers, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. This is just both troopers went up a step, so their salaries have gone up. Plus, I think longevity kicked in. But yeah, this is salaries plus the charge for the vehicle, plus overhead and benefits and all that other stuff. It doesn't expand coverage at all.
Okay.
All right, further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor of approving line 205 for $380,125, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item, and this is an update waste disposal. We had previously approved this line, but after we approved it, we got updated tipping fees from MIRA, or the budget, the Waste Disposal Authority. We had been paying $91 per ton. It has gone up to $105, which has resulted in an increase in this budget from what was originally requested to and approved to $125,000. I'd like a motion to approve a waste disposal line to particularly the MSW disposal fee to from $125,000 to $150,000, excuse me, reflective of the actual expected costs.
This is Kate. I'll make a motion to increase the MSW disposal fee from the recommended $125,000 up to $150,000.
All right, thank you for the motion. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, the last item we have on this budget tonight, debt service. We had not previously approved that budget because we didn't have the figures. What you have is figures for the debt service on all of the outstanding bonds. Also in here is the payment for the HES purchase.
Yep. Looks like it went down from last year, which is good.
Right.
I'll make a motion. We approve the debt service at $1,295,000, $1,295,403.
All right, motion has been made. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Last item I have just is general information on the budget. We still have not officially gotten an update on Valley Shore for dispatch costs. I talked to them tonight. They're confident if we increase our budget 1%, that'll cover it. I will have those figures and we can discuss it either at a special Board of Selectmen's meeting, which would be most appropriate so we can move it forward. But I think 1%, if I remember their charge right, it'd be somewhere around $1,500 increase.
That
And
sounds
this
good
is,
to me.
Kate, just a quick thank you to Joanne for posting on the town website what the board had approved so far. Much easier to just refer people over there than try to dig around and see what I can send them. So thank you for that.
You're
That
welcome.
was much appreciated.
I heard back from Kristen on that tax refund.
All
Okay.
right, so let's go back to the tax refund. Give me a minute to grab my paperwork. All right, Joanne, what was the rationale? What was the issue on that one?
So that was a refinance, and the resident and the mortgage company both paid the taxes.
That makes a lot of sense. So I'll now make a motion that we approve that refund to Movement Mortgage of $3,578.60.
Thank you for the motion, Sean. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Joanne.
All right. Next item on the agenda, final public comment. Anyone from the public want to make any comments? Going once, going twice, seeing none. I'll move on. I will call for a motion to adjourn.
This is Kate. I'll make a motion to adjourn. I beat you.
No, you did. I don't know whose turn it was.
All
I didn't
right.
either.
Thank you, Kate. I'd ask for discussion, but there never is on this one. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Once again, unanimous.